Okay, so this video I'm going to show a kettlebell snatch tutorial, and so as the video is playing in slow motion, I'll give you some key pointers. Now, whether you're looking to sharpen your kettlebell snatch or you're actually just learning it, this should be very helpful to you. So the first thing I'm going to go over is the actual grip. So when you look at the grip, I have to actually grip it so that it doesn't go flying out of my hands on the backswing and downswing, but it's a loose grip, and as I go up, it's even looser. You see how it rolls around my hand, and it's a nice loose grip. If you look, when I'm up at the top, you can see how the hand is. Now that does a couple of things. Not only does it not tear up your hands, because if you have too tight a grip, you're going to tear your hands up, but it also allows the kettlebell to move freely, and it allows you to place it in the right position. Now look at the position there. You see how the kettlebell handle is about 45 degrees? So between my thumb and forefinger is the top corner of the kettlebell, and then if you look at the bottom corner of the kettlebell, my forearm is touching right there, okay? So that's the proper position for the catch in the snatch. Now also, as far as the positioning, you want to make sure you're nice and tight to the body or so close to the ear, so your arm is straight up and down or vertical. And you want to make sure, you can't see it from the side here, but you want to make sure, again, it's vertical in that plane line as well, so usually like right behind your ears. I tell people to kind of target that. All right, so the second thing is, as you watch as I come down from the snatch, watch how I roll the elbow forward. So I roll the elbow forward here, and then I come down in a nice big arc. And so the rolling forward of the elbow, and you see the elbow doesn't pop back out. I've seen people roll it forward, then it pops back out on the way down. That's going to cause a lot of elbow stress. Now, the reason for rolling it forward in the first place is it takes the stress not only off the elbow, but it also takes the stress off of the shoulder. So when we externally rotate like that, which is what that is, we're actually protecting the shoulder. And we don't let it come straight down, otherwise it's going to yank us. We guide it down in a nice forward arc. So as I roll the elbow forward here, I guide it down in a nice arc, and then I go through the legs. Which brings me to my next point. When you're going through the legs, your grip can be thumb backward, thumb forward, or thumb across, which is palm backward. So any of those positions, whichever is most comfortable. You can see what I do is I tend to do a thumb forward, and then as I'm going through the legs and back up, it turns into more of a palm backward. That's what's most comfortable for me. I like that because as I'm coming up, I can drive straight up, and it flips over real nice, and with the right timing, I just land right there. Now, so that, again, is going to be your personal preference. As far as the timing of the punch, see how I drive up with my hips? Boom, and then I punch right there. So you don't want the kettlebell controlling you and landing and smashing onto your forearm. As you drive up, right, if you just drive up and you let that flip over, it's going to smash your forearm. So you have to punch right there. So as it becomes weightless, you punch your hand up, and it lands nice and softly on your forearm. You can see I don't have my kettle guards on here. I do like to use the kettle guards, but you can see if you don't have the kettle guards, as long as your timing is good, you're not going to beat the living crap out of your forearms there. So the timing of the punch is really important. Make sure you punch up right there. I punch, it lands in a nice position. Another point that I want to make is regarding breathing. You can't tell from the video, but when you're breathing for a kettlebell sport or for high rep kettlebell, as it goes through your legs, you breathe out, and right there as you catch, you breathe out again. Okay? So you breathe a small breath in on the way down, breathe out as you go through the legs, nice deep breath in as you're coming up, and as you catch, you let some air out again. And so that's the proper breathing for the snatch. Also want to talk about the pendulum. So when we're talking about the pendulum swing, there's the traditional kettlebell swing where you hinge backwards. And so on this, you can see that my knees go back a little bit, they translate back a little bit, and then they translate forward a little bit, and it's almost like a scooping of the hips. You're not driving your hips straight up, you're still driving them forward, but it's more of a scoop type of movement by allowing the knees to go back and the knees to go forward. When you do a pendulum movement, the knees stay pretty steady, and you just hinge at the hips and drive the hips forward. Here you're still driving from the hips, but you're allowing your knees to move back. So let's look at it as it comes down here. So as it comes down, we're going to allow the knees to translate back a little bit. So watch, they go back just a little bit there, and then they drive forward as the hips drive forward. And so that's called the pendulum swing. It's much more effective when you're doing high reps or kettlebell sport because you're absorbing a lot of the shock right here, a lot of the weight as you drive back and allow that kind of absorption by letting those knees come back. And you still create a lot of good drive. I think you create good drive on both the hinge and the pendulum personally. All right, the last thing I want to cover is fixation. Now, this is important if you're training for kettlebell sport. At the top right there, you want to make sure that not only does the U stop moving completely, but the bell stops moving completely before you come down. Again, a real common thing that I see, and I've done it myself before in the snatch, is you go up and you just roll right into the next rep. And that's okay if you're just doing it for training, but if you're doing it for sport, you're going to need to make sure that you fixate at the top, otherwise you're not going to get counted for the rep. So right there, fixate, allow everything to stop, then roll forward and come back down into the next rep. If you have any questions, let me know. There's a whole bunch of tips in that. Hopefully you've learned something through that. Stay strong. I'll see you next time.